Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Hey, Larson.
What?
Let's answer some questions. What do you say?
All right.
All right. I got a thread right up here on our Steven Larson YouTube channel. That's where we post this thread every single week. It's the podcast channel. Let's see here. First up, we've got Joshua Harden. Says, with Triple H back as head of creative, do you guys foresee a reversion back to a more younger, adult, older or / older demographic stories, more relatable language? I do, because I think that these aren't going to be as sort of scripted, sort of scripted down to the. I think it'll be a more natural sounding show, more natural sounding promos.
Yeah, I think if what we saw on SmackDown, especially, was any indication. Yeah, I think so.
White Brownie asks, considering Triple H likes tag team wrestling and factions, could you both see Raw and SmackDown becoming faction heavy going forward?
I think that'd be great.
I hope so, and I kind of think that's a reasonable expectation. I think that's a possibility, absolutely.
You know, as we've seen in New Japan and AEW, it's a good way to get as many people on the show as possible. Get people involved in something, even if they're not involved in their own individual storylines, at least they're involved in the faction storyline. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Name a faction that you'd like to see right now, Larson. I'll start just because I'm just going to rip somebody else's thing off chat. Shayna Baszler leading Shotzi and Sonya in a faction. But Sonya doesn't like that Shayna's leading it, so there's always a power struggle between those two. But Shotzi is sort of the X factor.
I thought you meant just like historically speaking. I was going to say right to censor.
Oh, no, I'm saying what's a faction you'd like to see in WWE right now out of the current roster members? But if the answer is still right to censor, sure, why not?
Sure,
yeah,
right to censor.
All right, moving on. Mayor of Planet Houston says, with Ric Flair having just had his last match, who else should have a big show for their last match, and who should they face? Sting is a good candidate.
Got the answer.
Okay.
Sid.
Okay.
Sid versus Scott Steiner.
Do you think that would do the kind of numbers that Ric Flair's last match would do?
No, it'd do better.
Astronomical? Is that the word you're looking for?
Yeah, stadium. They'll fill stadium.
Holy shit. Who else is going to be on that card? What would be on the undercard for that match?
It's the two of them wrestling for 3 hours. No other matches.
Who is it? Sid versus who?
Scott Steiner.
What a terrible answer. So we talked about this in the pre. I think this would make for a killer thumbnail title, Larson.
All right.
Our thoughts on Ric Flair's final match.
Oh.
Because we didn't talk about it on the episode proper. We talked about it on the pre-show, where I was trying to be as diplomatic as possible. All right. So we're gonna rehash this. We talked about it already, but we're gonna talk about it for this video specifically because it makes for a great.
Well, keep in mind this is going on the audio version of the podcast, so
right, yeah. This is the way we do it. The questions that we answer today go in the audio version every week, but then I take them out of the video version and put them on Friendo Club TV for content.
Yes. So
you haven't seen the match. I have, but you have seen the match in full.
I've seen little clips here and there. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll start with the positives. I'd like to think that this match was constructed, and this whole event was constructed as a way to satisfy Ric Flair's desire to have another match, because he's talked about this endlessly over the years. He feels he can have another match. And then he had the whole heart thing, and he came out of that with a pacemaker, and within a year or two, he was like, I can have another match. I'm going to take bumps. Vince is going to let me take bumps. And none of us really wanted to see that because we don't want to see a Randy the Ram situation. And so what I'm hoping is this is a situation where maybe Conrad, understanding that his father-in-law has this itch and not wanting to see another promoter take advantage of Rick and put him in a situation where maybe it wouldn't be safe, maybe he went and he said, hey, Rick, roll Tide. Let's do this one last match, but I want you to guarantee that this is going to be it. This is going to be your last match, and we'll maximize your earning potentials. We'll build StarCast around this last match. We'll have the day after SummerSlam. We'll sell it on pay-per-view for $35. We'll do meet and greets where they can purchase a little like 3D figure of you and the fan together for like $300. And we'll make you as much money as possible in your last hurrah, and under as safe conditions as possible. But this has got to be it. Because, man, now comes the other part. And it's great that they got to celebrate his legacy. And the Jim Crockett branding looked great, by the way.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable to watch.
Based on what I saw and what I heard, yes.
Specifically towards the finish when Andrade was trying to put brass knuckles on the hands of a man who clearly was not conscious, Ric Flair. And I was watching it. I was disturbed. I was like, oh, my God. Like, this could be really bad. And then Ric Flair comes to. He puts the brass knuckles on the right thing, and then we get the finish of the match. But I'd be lying if I didn't say this was a bit uncomfortable. And I just hope that this was a situation where this is going to be it. This got him out of it got out of his system, and he has to know that this is going to be it. I don't need a year from now. Oh, one more time, because like he's blown through all his money or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like I've not watched the rest of the card. I want to check out the rest of the card. I purchased it. I watched the last match, and I intend to go back and watch because some of the other stuff looked really cool.
Yeah. Some of the other matches did look really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, the actual match, it was even more uncomfortable than I thought it was going to be, because none of us, I don't think anybody else thought, we all thought, oh, this is going to be a little, song and dance thing, and that was going to be it. But
I assumed it was going to be a situation where Andrade would carry the weight for their team, and then he'd come in for a couple spots and for the finish, and that would be that. And
yeah, and even with that, like, I mean, he was in there a little bit. Like, Flair didn't do a whole lot, but what he did do wasn't. Like, even the basic people here in chat are mentioning this. Even him doing the Fargo strut seemed difficult for him to do. So yeah, it was kind of an uncomfortable experience. And I'm hoping, I'm grateful that he got through it okay, and he really did seem touched at the end. They had him come out with his old world title, and he said he was going to go party with Kid Rock, which was probably more dangerous than doing the match.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
But yeah, I sincerely hope, he should have put this in writing. Yeah, I'm not going to wrestle again. I don't know who he'd be beholden to, but yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that this is it. And I guess it's his decision to have this match. And yeah, I didn't want to see, as you mentioned, a Randy the Ram situation in the ring. I don't think anybody wanted to.
Right. Yeah.
But if. Yeah, I don't know. It's going into it. We'd already had a busy weekend, so it wasn't like I was going to watch it regardless. Yesterday was kind of like I'm stepping away from wrestling for Sunday. I'm gonna give myself a day. Although I watched Rampage last night. But it wasn't like I was really intently interested in watching it regardless. But yeah, after seeing what I saw and hearing what you had to say, I don't know. It just seems like a really uncomfortable experience, But yeah, he got to have a system. He got to have his last match on his terms. I'm sure that's probably fulfilling for him.
Yeah,
and for his family.
Yeah.
But hopefully, when he says last match, he means last match.
It was fun to see Undertaker, Bret Hart, and Mick Foley all sitting together in the front row.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah.
And then Karen Jarrett was pretty funny. Jeff Jarrett was pretty damn entertaining in this. Jay Lethal was hilariously entertaining during this. But yeah. Hopefully, like you said, he got it out of his system. Let's see here. David Matushak says, considering that Edge came back, which theme should he have? The Brood theme or the Alter Bridge song that he had prior to Judgment Day?
His first solo theme.
You think you know Red Edge.
Yes.
Jacques Turner. With Control being the name of Bayley's new group and her tweeting Janet Jackson, how likely do you think they will use the song as an entrance for one of the big pay-per-views like WrestleMania?
Oh, I think that's highly unlikely.
You know which Control I'd rather them use?
it would be Joy Division.
Yeah, she's lost control again. That's when they break up. She's lost control.
I know she mentioned that, and then she tweeted the lyrics to Janet Jackson's Control. She also tweeted some lyrics. I believe it was for a Deftones song. God, what's it called? I hear the song in my head.
Popular one, the Fly
Is
one.
Yeah,
something in the House of Flies or something like that.
Yes, that one. It was that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a solid song.
It is a good song.
Yeah, that'd be kind of, man, what if they busted out some licensed music?
I would think getting a Deftones song would be more likely than Janet Jackson. Just because I feel like licensing a Janet Jackson song would be very expensive.
What's more likely, a Deftones song, Janet Jackson, or Joy Division? Power rank, the likeliness, the ease with which they can be got.
Deftones, and then I feel like it's a toss-up after that between Janet Jackson and Joy Division. I just don't know.
What would be the hold-up with Joy Division?
I don't know if they're particular about what they license their stuff to.
Yeah, maybe. Is it? Didn't they morphed into New Order? Didn't they?
Yeah, the all the other members other than Ian Curtis, but then
Peter Hook, they still have control of their own.
Well, Peter Hook, the bass player, is not on good terms with the rest of New Order.
Oh, interesting.
So that could be an issue.
Oh, wow. Organ Grinder says Joy Division would be the hardest. Wow. Maybe Janet Jackson's like a huge freaking wrestling
Could
fan.
be.
Yeah.
Could be.
I like that. Control again. James Icy. What is the ceiling or potential peak you see for maximum male models? Or what are they doing a year from now?
I don't know.
I have no clue.
I don't know.
I
have no idea.
You add another layer to the whole, oh my God, what's going to happen with Triple H in charge? I mean, seemingly he finds the comedic value in them still because they were on SummerSlam and Max Dupree was back with them.
Yep.
I don't know.
So he managed to convince LA Knight to come back for that gimmick. So
is it funny that we refer to, I never know what to call him? Because it's like now he's Max Dupree, but that whenever they said, "Oh, Max Dupree left," I'm like, Max Dupree, that's not his real name. LA Knight's his real name, but that's not his real name.
No,
Eli Drake's his real name.
Eli Drake.
I don't think that's his real name.
No, his real name's Sean.
Sean something. Yeah. I'm just trying to do something. Says, even though everyone loved Black and Gold NXT, it wasn't flawless. What lessons do you think Triple H learned from his time with NXT?
Variety of characters. You can't just have everybody on the roster being badasses who love to fight. You need some variety in the characters you got there. Amen. And we saw a bit more of that towards the tail end of 1.0. We had The Way doing some really good comedic stuff. I feel like he was starting to move to a lot more variety. What he's doing with Dexter Lumis was a lot of fun. And then, hopefully that's. And I think there is maybe some evidence to suggest that he did learn that you can't just have, like one character on your entire roster. You need a variety. I
agree with that. Let's see here. Anthony Scalise says, what do you see happening with WWE's partnership with Saudi Arabia now that Triple H and Stephanie are running things? Given that it's a 10-year deal, I'm not sure there's anything they could do to get out of it if they wanted to, but it makes them so much money, and there doesn't seem to be sort of the backlash that initially came with the deal. So I think they're going to keep on running with the thread that hey, we're enacting change over there. I think that's what they're going to do. I wouldn't anticipate any changes. Let's see here. We've talked about that before. Blake Whitehouse says, how many more big names need to join AEW before a brand split conversation needs to happen? I hope that point never gets there. The only reason WWE did a brand split in the first place because they absorbed two other companies. So AEW would need to absorb New Japan or something, and they would just keep separate brands. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they did that with Ring of Honor. Yeah, I was going to say, Ring of Honor is pretty much their second brand at this juncture. Yeah. Let's see here. We've talked about this one before. F-Pop Entertainment asks, which Triple H guy will get one of the top titles first who isn't Seth? Now, we actually talked about that in the previous video, so I'll just post the link to that video right here So y'all can
right.
check out our answer to that question. Let's see here. FS, we'll end on this one. FSI says, do you think anybody is going to get their name back? Or at least will they get another better name?
I would not be surprised if, not necessarily if Pete Dunne gets his name back, but if he gets a different name other than Butch.
I think you're probably right about that. I think I wonder if Piper Niven also, maybe Max Friends here says Piper Niven. Niven and Pete Dunne. I could see them maybe. And Piper Niven's a WWE name. Pete Dunne obviously isn't, but I could see him getting some sort of name that pays homage to something he likes, as opposed to being Butch. Yeah, it's gonna be I don't know, Johnny St. Brookside or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, that's going to do it for us, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our questions. Hit that like button, little subscribe button next to it. We appreciate that. And check out one of these other videos. Till then, we'll see you later.
Goodbye.